Well, hello everyone, it's Jessica, and I am back with another layout for the ThermOWeb design team. And today we are featuring a collaboration with Pretty Pink Posh, which is all kinds of beautiful products. They have stencil stamps, bling, you name it, they've got it. So what I'm starting off with is one of their stencils here. This is a wood grain kind of background stencil, and I realize I should have used, you see my little one is showing you his beautiful coloring there. I should have used some pixie tape on this to tape my stencil down, and I wouldn't have gotten that line there on the right side of that first circle, but I'm not too worried about it, honestly, because I'm going to cover that up with some photos. I see my little one was playing with the spatula there as well. Sometimes you're going to see my little guys in my videos. They are often down here in my scrapbook room. He is my 2-year-old there. You see his little hand in the bottom playing with some things, and I also have a 3-year-old. So sometimes they pop in my videos from time to time. So what I did is I just used the Deco Foil Transfer Gel Blanco, and I just spread that on my stencil pal, and then it gives a nice smooth finish to that stencil. And then I set that aside to dry while I work on a couple of these little bits that I'm working on, which is with the stamp set, the flock, and the die set. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the adhesive foil, or not adhesive foil, the adhesive foam, and I am backing them and then cutting them out with my die and then stamping on top of that flock. So I'm attaching the flock to the adhesive and then I'm stamping on it to give that beautiful effect. And I'm using Archival Ink, that way it definitely sticks to the flock and shows up very nice and crisp and clean. So here are a couple of the stamps that I've chosen. I've chosen to use some camping stamps today, and I'm just gonna color them in. Sorry about being off frame here. I realized that after I was editing this video, realized that I'm coloring all of this in at the bottom of the frame and you can't see any of it. So I'm very sorry about that. But I'm just using my Copic markers. I don't have a lot of them. I don't have a ton of colors, so I just use what I have and use what works. But you can also do kind of like a watercolor effect with inks or oxides. You could use those. There's a lot of things that you can use to color these in with. You could even use colored pencils if you really wanted to, and they would look just fine. Or you could leave them black and white. They would look fine just like that too. So just kind of finishing up coloring here. There's my little flocked pieces. I chose the Happy Trails sign and then another little log here. And sorry for flipping around so much. I tried to speed this video up so you didn't have to be bored watching all the little steps. And here I'm just using some of my circle dies that I have with my my Big Shot machine, and I'm running those through just to cut my photos down into circles. So I want to stick to that kind of circly theme that I have going on since the wood grain stencil is kind of in a circle. So I'm just going with that for my layout. And it's been probably about 45 minutes at this point, and I have let that dry off the side while I worked on everything else, and I walked away for a minute too, so I wasn't doing all of that the entire time, but there's my little stamps that I cut out, and all of my photos are coming in now, and I just love the way that this is coming together. I'm just going to start kind of putting things down now. I'm gonna foil this background so that it's done. I'm using the Deco Foil Transfer Sheets, and this color is the bronze. So as you can see, I've used a piece of it before, so I'm just gonna cut off that extra there and use the rest of that up. And then I'm pulling another sheet out to finish up the other two. So I'm gonna foil each one of these that I stenciled. And here I just pulled it off my laminating machine, and there you can see this gorgeousness. Isn't that beautiful? And I just love how clean and crisp that turned out. And I did clean off my stencil in between doing each one of those circles just because I didn't want to risk any smudges or anything. So I did clean it off between each time. So that's just a little tip for you. And again, you can use pixie spray or pixie tape to kind of stick that down to your layout so it doesn't move around or anything when you're working with it. But I was in a hurry, so I didn't. So here I'm just gonna make a couple little more stamps, if you will. I don't know why I'm talking is a struggle for me today. But here I'm just making, I guess this is a beaver. I don't know. What do you guys think this is? Do you think it's a beaver or do you think it's a chipmunk or a squirrel? I want to know your thoughts in the comments, what you think this little animal is. It's got some great big teeth. So my original thinking was it was beaver because, you know, this stamp set comes with logs. So I thought it was a beaver and it has big teeth, but I can't see the tail. It doesn't have a big bushy tail. It doesn't have a paddle-like tail like a beaver. I don't know what kind of tail it has. So it could possibly be a chipmunk, right? I don't know. Is it a squirrel, a chipmunk, a beaver? I don't know. I want your thoughts in the comments. So let me know what you think that is. And here I am just working on this little tent. I love this cute little stamp. I thought it was so adorable. I'm just gonna color in a couple parts of it just with this tan shade. And then I'm going to foil the rest because I thought, wouldn't that look super cool in a shiny foil, just kind of like a grungy, distressed look. So it kind of looked like a shiny tent, you know, the canvasy kind of material that they are. I just thought it would look really cool. So what I'm doing is I'm just using a paintbrush here, and surprisingly, I get it on pretty smooth and straight. I'm just surprised because my 3-year-old pops in here and he is actually bumping my arm the entire time because he wants a snack. So he has a snack, he just needs it opened. And I'm like, okay, wait, buddy, just give me 1 second and I'll open that for you. But I didn't want my paintbrush to dry out or anything, so I wanted to finish that first. But it goes on pretty smooth, and I'm just gonna set it aside to dry again. It shouldn't take too long because it's pretty thin on there. So I'm not gonna let it dry the full hour. So here I have just cut some die cut circles. I'm actually using a collection from Echo Park called Let's Go Camping. And I have cut some scraps of paper in some of those die cut circles that I had earlier, just to kind of fill in around my photos and just give it a little bit of added dimension and effect. And then as you can see, I got some sequins from Pretty Pink Posh, and they match this collection absolutely perfectly. I love them. They're so beautiful, and they just really have such a pretty finish to them. And I just absolutely love them. So I'm just adhering things down. I'm using my tape runner to adhere some down. I'm gonna pop some of them up using the 3D foam squares here. And then some of them, I think I might use some glue on some of these too, but we'll see what happens here. So yeah, I'm just using some various things from my ThermOWeb stash here and adhesives that I have just laying here beside me, and things that I've pulled out. So I think I'm gonna pull out some die cuts from this collection too, just to kind of fill in this layout a little bit. You can see my little fire stamp that I colored in and cut from the stamp set is right there, and I'm gonna place that down in a different spot here in a second. So I do have a fire in the picture, but I thought, wouldn't that look super cute to just lay an overlap on the actual fire in my picture? So that's what I end up doing at the end here in a second. But I'm gonna pop this little guy up using my tape roll, my foam tape roll, which these rolls, I swear they last forever. The rolls are huge, but they're so awesome to have and to be able to use. So if you like foam tape and foam squares like I do, those giant rolls are absolutely awesome. So here you can see I'm just cutting pieces of that foam tape off just to use on some of these circles that are a little bit bigger. So I'm just finishing adhering everything down. There's my cute little log and my beaver, I think, or squirrel, I don't know. So I'm just gonna pop him up there so he looks like he's kind of popping out from the log. And then I am deciding now that I would like a border on this. So I cut a little bit off of each side, probably about 1/4 inch off of each side. And I've just cut the middle out of that background paper because I love it so much. I wanted to save it for another layout. So I just have a border around the edge. And usually I would distress the edges, but since I have so much going on with this layout and I foiled on close to the edge, I decided not to distress those edges or do anything with them. Then I'm just using some of the Easy easy tear tape to adhere that border piece behind my main layout background. So I love this tape. It's so nice to use. It just peels right off, and then you've got double-sided tape there. I can use it like this, where I can just peel 1 or 2 sides off, line it up, and then peel the remainder off. That way, if you need to move it around or shift it, it's easier to do, and you don't have all 4 sides stuck down right away. So it is awesome to use for that, and it's really great for your photos too, to adhere those down. So there's my tent. It's pretty dry now, so I'm just gonna cut a piece of the foil, and I think this one is emerald watercolor, if I remember right, but I'll list it below for you guys. And the flock, while I'm on the subject, the flock was in Tuscan Gold, so that's the brownish color. So I've just foiled my little tent, and then I'm just popping it up. So as you can see, it did come out like a little bit distressed, which was exactly what I wanted. So I'm super happy with the way that that turned out. And then here, I'm just sorting through these die cuts, and I'm just going to finish up embellishing, and then I'll put the sequins on. So I will stop talking, and I'll just put some music in for the rest so that you don't get bored listening to me. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll link everything below for you so that you have all the links to all the products and you can purchase if you'd like. So thank you so much for watching. I'll pop in at the end with the finished product. So the funny thing is I realized that I totally forgot to turn my camera on whenever I did my splatters. So I do have white splatters on, looky there. I used white acrylic paint for that, and that was my finished layout. And here's some close-ups for you guys. I did end up using some of those star stamps around the photos and just to fill in, and lots of those beautiful sequins. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and stop back for more. Thanks so much.